The Fed just reduced the rate by 50 basis points. This is incredible because in our last video, we were talking about what the prediction would be. And this week they have announced the rate cut decreased to 50 basis points. The last rate cut they had done was March 16, 2020 during the pandemic years. We're going to talk about how this is going to impact the real estate market all over and especially in the Austin area. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to my channel. This is Rima Balsar, your Austin local realtor, making your real estate journey stress-free. Today, we're going to be talking about the breaking news that just happened this week, the decrease in interest rate. Yay! This is exciting for my home sellers and for my home buyers. And let's see what Jerome Powell had to say about this.
But I think as we normalize rates, you'll see the housing market normalize. And I mean, ultimately, by getting inflation broadly down and getting those rates normalized and getting the housing cycle normalized, that's the best thing we can do for householders.
You just heard what he had to say. Now, what does that really mean? Simply put, it means the Federal Reserve is lowering the federal funds rate by 0.5%. This is a significant move, especially considering that the Fed has gradually increasing rates over the past few years to combat inflation. Now, after several years of rate hikes, we're finally seeing a reversal. The last time we saw a rate cut was during the pandemic years, as I said that before, and that was to control the inflation. Now, let's talk about what this means on the housing markets across US. A lower federal funds rate typically leads to lower mortgage rates, which means cheaper borrowing costs for home buyers. This could breathe a new life into a housing market that has been cooling off due to higher interest rates. With mortgage rates potentially dropping, we could see an increase in buyer activity, especially among those who were previously priced out of the market. All right, let's bring it home. What does this really mean to Austin real estate? As many of you know, Austin has been one of the hottest markets in the past few years. But recently, even in Austin, we've seen signs of the market cooling off with lots of inventory homes available for the home buyers and slightly increase in the price point growth. With the Fed's rate cut, we might see a bit of balancing act here in Austin. On one hand, lower mortgage rates could draw more buyers back into the market, reigniting competition. But on the other hand, sellers may need to adjust their expectations. So as the market continues to stabilize and normalize alongside these new rates. For sellers, this could be a great news, especially if you have your listing on the market for a while. You may potentially see more buyers coming out in the market or may get multiple offers in hand, but that depends if you have priced your home competitively. And also do factor in the buyer agent composition, as that also plays in factor in this market. For buyers, it is a great time to lock in your lower interest rates. And you also have lots of options as there's still a high volume of homes for sale in Austin, especially in new construction and also in resale. So you have great options and your negotiation power also comes in your favor right now. But if you are really looking for a home, I really highly advise you buyers to make sure you're pre-approved to get your offer in a stronger terms, because if you fall in love with a home and you do not have a pre-approval and the other offers do, then you may not get the home that you really love. So make sure you get the pre-approval, make sure you know what the budget is that you can afford, and also factor in the new rules changes that are announced. On top of your closing cost, also factor in your buyer agent compensation. So some things that buyers still has to make sure. As you saw what the Fed chair mentioned, they expect the housing market to normalize alongside these rate adjustments. But what does normalize really mean? In essence, we could see the frenetic pace of the last year's ease up, leading to more balanced market where neither buyer nor seller have the upper hand. Over the past few years, we've seen a crazy market with sellers putting their homes on the market and they're going within few days or even just within few minutes with multiple offers in hands, waiving everything that's in there in the contract. For buyers, there would be more options available and they wouldn't feel pressure to make quick decisions or engage in bidding wars. Now for sellers, while they might not experience the same level of demand as during the peak of the market, homes would still sell out at a fair price. But likely with more negotiation and realistic pricing expectations. Of course, it's also important to remember that the rate cuts are not going to happen suddenly. It may take a while to factor the new rates in. Policymakers see the Fed's benchmark interest rate falling by another 0.5% point by the end of this year and another full percent point in 2025, which would bring them down to 3.25 to 3.5%. Now, when is the next Fed meeting in this year in 2024? The Federal Reserves have 2 more opportunities to consider the interest rate moves, which is going to be held on November 6th and 7th and December 17 and 18. So there you have it, the news on the lower interest rate. We're so excited that this is going to happen. And obviously, hopefully, this will normalize the market of somewhat. But let's see what they're going to do by end of the year. We're going to keep an eye on it and see what's going to happen in the rates and also what's going to happen during the election. So stay tuned for more informative videos. And if you have a comment, let me know what your thoughts are. What do you think the prediction is going to be? Or do you think the presidential election is going to have any effect on the real estate market? Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.